This is the moment I've waited for since starting this channel. A proper scale for Dragon Ball GT. No downplaying, no dub lines, and no fan theories that have been prevalent in the fandom for nearly 20 years. My name is Taff108, and it's time the Supreme Duo channel puts some respect on the name of Dragon Ball GT. So here's a quick disclaimer before we get to the rest of the video. I will be listing characters off from weakest to strongest. I'm going to be using the Buu Saga as a measuring stick for this video, so only characters who are relative to Buu will be mentioned. So do not expect an appearance from Artificial Human number 18 on this list. And finally, this list will only include the Black Star Dragon Ball Saga, as the title implies. I will save the Baby Saga and the other arcs for future videos. I will be using the standard Ssj multipliers here. If you ascribe to full power, giving a subsequent 10 times boost to every form, feel free to add that in yourself, whatever multipliers you use. First up, we have beginning of GT Pan. People really sleep on Pan, even though she's the daughter of Gohan and she has incredible strength and potential. Unless you're a Saiyajin or you're Buu, you wouldn't last 10 seconds against Pan, even right at the start of the series. She doesn't really do anything that impressive, other than Regik saying that conventional weapons won't work on her, though Dr. View does say that she has incredible dormant power. And this is the same guy who designs machines that are stronger than Majin Buu, so I think he knows what he's talking about. But after her, we have Base Goten. He has no real role in this arc, other than Vegeta pointing out that he's been slacking on his training, though Trunks does mention that he'd be a better fit for the trip than Pan, putting him above her, even suggesting they go back and get him once they start running into Dr. Mew's creations. And he's relative to Trunks, but likely weaker, just like in the Buu Saga. And speaking of, we've made it to Trunks. Again, he doesn't really do anything that impressive just yet at the beginning. The only thing to mention is that he did in fact train, which I go into in greater detail in my video on both Goten and Trunks, which you guys can check out, which will be linked in the description box down below. And above him, we can put Mr. Buu, which is the fat version of Majin Buu. He's here because his power was lessened beneath that of Kid Buu after the split, but he's still stronger than Buu Arc SSJ2's. Nothing too special, but this is where he belongs. Now we've gotten to Kid Buu, who, while not a character in GT, makes a decent strength benchmark. Now, GT is a sequel to Dragon Ball Z anime, which does have dialogue stating that Kid Buu is the strongest Buu. However, I think in regards to scaling GT properly, it makes more sense to lean on the manga in terms of scaling the Buus relative to one another. I'll explain more when we get there, but you guys all know the character I'm talking about and why I'm doing this. Next up, we have a tie between base beginning of GT Goku and Oob. Now, the first real feat from these two is a statement that they can't fight on Earth, so Akami had to make a new dimension for them to fight in. But even that room is breaking under the stress of their battle. Goku at the very end of the fight says that Oob has graduated, so we know that he's achieved his goal from the Buu arc of having a fight with a fully realized Kid Buu, who can fight with good intentions. However, I do need to debunk something I still see all the time. Goku being wished into a child by Ultimate Shenlong does not make him any weaker. It only decreases his stamina. This is confirmed by the GT Perfect files, which says that he's just as good a fighter as before. But surpassing base Goku, we have Regik, who is a monster of a fighter. He's basically hit before hit. He was able to one-shot Trunks and overpower base Goku. Goku even stating that he's rather strong. However, Regik is outdone by Muchi Muchi. Trunks says that he has an incredible amount of ki, and that his strength excites Goku. He's really only above Regik because of his magic and his energy-draining whips. Lud level 2 overpowers him, as he's shown to be able to overpower base Trunks and base Goku. Trunks even says that he has an extraordinary ki, and Goku saying that his power is awesome. He also tanks a Kamehameha from both of them with no damage. However, he has the weakness of not being able to use his power properly. Following Lud, we have Ssj Trunks, who is stated by the narrator to be stronger than the God of Destruction Lud. He's also able to kill Muchi Muchi with a single ki blast. And after Trunks, we have Piccolo, Gohan, and Vegeta in that order, because Trunks states, when correcting Pan about who the strongest fighters on Earth are, that these three are stronger than him. He doesn't mention Uber Buu, which is consistent with Trunks being stronger than Lud, who is in turn stronger than base Goku, because Goku wouldn't need Ssj to overpower Lud if he could have tanked it in his base form. Of course, Ssj Goku is the next obvious character. It should be no surprise that he's stronger than anyone on Earth. Daltaki, who is a doll otaku by the way, says that Muchi is no match for him. He's able to easily overpower Regik with just one Kamehameha, and he tells him that he should train and fight him again, while stating that he will do the same. Now, this is important to note here, because a lot of people don't realize that they get stronger while in space. They're in space for nearly a year. They barely make it back to Earth before the negative energy destroys it, so they're getting stronger throughout the entire trip, which will be relevant to the list later. So don't crucify me yet for putting Goku so low. Next up, we have Lord Lude at level 3. He reached this state thanks to his dormant power from Pan. Trunks describes his power as being unreal, and Goku says that it's intense. Dr. Mew believes that his magnificent power can smash Trunks and Goku. Even just Trunks stating that his power is unreal could be argued to place Lude above the likes of Ultimate Gohan, a being whose power Trunks has seen firsthand. Goku doesn't even bother transforming against him, and the only way they beat him is by using his weak spot. And from here, we move to Planet M2, where the strongest machine mutants roam. The weakest among them is Nut, but even he is as strong as Lude at bare minimum, probably stronger. We know this because Dr. Mew expects him and the rest of the Sigma Force to be able to capture Goku and co, even saying that they shouldn't be too rough. He watched them fight Lude, he knows how strong they are, and he still thinks the Sigma Force needs to take it easy on them. Goku even tells Trunks and Pan that they're not pushovers and that they need to be careful when they first encounter them. Goku stating that he hasn't met anyone as awesome as them in a while is again another statement which proves a direct comparison to Lude himself, since that was the last powerful fighter Goku saw up to this point. Rildo also called them the mightiest squad. Everything just points to them being more powerful than Lude. However, when Nut is defeated, the others reveal that they are stronger than him, and the next ranking naturally goes to Pan, who was the one who defeated him. When Nut loses, he states that Pan's power wasn't in the data. Now this is data from Gil, who had been witnessing all of the fights Pan and Co had up to this point, so this is again confirmation that their power has grown compared to what Dr. Mew and the Machine Mutants were expecting from them. Pan, however, is one-shotted by the Sigma Force, so they're stronger than her. They could further increase their power by combining themselves together, and also they're all relative, so I'm just going to combine their spot here. Goku compliments them at first, but then he reveals that he's been holding back, and Rildo comments on how their mightiest squad has been defeated. From here we can go to Trunks, who says that Pan would slow him down, confirming that he's stronger than her, and then he comments, when they're waiting for Goku to return to the ship, that he couldn't lose to people on the level of the Sigma Force, proving that he doesn't think very highly of them. When Goku says that Rildo is stronger than Buu, Trunks is excited and actually ends up pretending to lose to him, which Goku comments on later, as he first suspected that Trunks was up to something at the time. There's something else we can keep in mind for this video. His skills beyond fighting. Trunks is an incredibly smart and adept character. He takes after his mother in that regard in GT. And so he didn't lose to Rildo because he's weaker than him. It was a part of a long-term plan to figure out what Dr. Mew was doing. But we'll get on that later. Now, it's debatable if Rildo is actually stronger than Trunks, but to give him the benefit of the doubt, we'll place him above him. I have an entire video going over the strength of this character, but the reason why I put Kid Buu so low is because of him. Oob has to be as strong as Kid Buu for the narrative to work. All the characters I listed here are stronger than Oob, every character up to this point in the video. And Rildo is the first enemy Goku says is stronger than Buu. So, for that statement to make sense, there has to be a stronger Buu than Kid Buu. Buuhan is the only one who fits that bill, and that's only viable using manga scaling. That said, we can move on. Just a side note, Rildo also has hacks where he can turn people into metal, and he's connected to the entire planet of M2 itself, and he can regenerate using the metal on that planet. But we all know he was beaten by Goku, and the fight wasn't even close. Goku fires the Kamehameha, which Rildo barely manages to dodge, and it still heavily damages him. Above base Goku, I would put Infant Baby, only because Goku ultimately decided that he needed help from Pan and Trunks to kill him. Despite this, Baby doesn't even die as a result. Mew thought that Baby could defeat the Saiyajins, and it should also be noted that he wasn't even done growing at this point, which is when Trunks went to find out. But we'll focus on how strong Baby would be at his full potential in the Baby Saga video. His biggest downside is that he's just raw power. He has no skill. He definitely pales compared to the next person on our list, which is Hyper Meta Rildo. Now, this version of the character was significantly stronger than his base form. The narrator stating that this is a true contest of powers when he's fighting Ssj Goku more than proves that he's above base Goku in this form. He was also able to hurt Goku in his secondary transformation, which will be the next on our list, which is Meta Rildo. And that's enough to prove that he's the second strongest in this arc. Goku in his Ssj form on M2 is by far the most powerful being in the saga. He was able to effortlessly destroy the Sigma Force just by powering up into this transformation. He beat both forms of Rildo with no difficulty. And Dr. Mew confirms that this power is beyond his imagination, just in case you were still on the fence about whether or not Goku's powers actually continue to grow throughout this portion of the story. And it's important to keep in mind that this is all just this one saga. Not to mention the fact that Goku can also still transform. Even in this arc, we see him use the Ssj transformation during a brief moment where it looks like Rildo is pressuring him. And he can further transform to Super Saiyan 3. And not to spoil too much from the baby video, but I'm sure a lot of you have already seen GT, so you know that Goku can't hold the transformation for very long without a tail. And since we've reached the end of the video, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up my thoughts a little bit about the scaling of this video. I think this proves definitively, hopefully, that characters in GT outscale the Buu arc by a massive mile. There's always so much downplay going around about people saying that Goku from the Buu saga could actually stand a chance against these characters, but he gets surpassed fairly early on, naturally, because there are so many characters stronger than base beginning of GT Goku. Even Goku himself gets over 50 times stronger throughout the course of the story. And he's also way stronger than Pan, and Trunks is way stronger than Pan too. So really there are a lot of levels of scaling you can do to Goku based on all these placements to really expand upon how powerful he is. And I'll probably touch on that again in the end of the Baby Saga video, because here I didn't really talk too much about the multipliers. I'm just giving a plain straight who's stronger than who. And of course I mentioned base states so you could add your own multipliers in. And I'll be doing that myself in the follow-up video, which I hope you guys will join me for, when I talk about the Baby Saga, and after all it is the saga that introduced Super Saiyan 4 to everyone. I tried to make this video brief, but this is a scaling video, so I'm sure you'll understand the length. I only imagine that the next one will be even longer given all the transformations and power-ups in the Baby Saga, but we'll get to that bridge when we get to it. For long-time viewers, you no doubt noticed that this video, I went back to adding where the feats and statements come from. I used to do this in every video, and the reason is I care a lot about evidence. It's about making logical conclusions for me when I make these videos. That's everything to me, it's everything to Victory, it's everything the Supreme Duo stands for. It's the very foundation of this channel. Objectivity. And I'll be honest, I'm biased. I love Dragon Ball GT. It's my favorite Dragon Ball content, even though it's far from perfect. Or even far from the best. I really wish people could enjoy it, but I can't change people's minds about the content. I can, however, prove that the verse is much stronger than most people think. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a like, share it, wherever GT Downplay is found, and sub if you're new. Be sure to hit that bell, because YouTube thinks it's a smart idea for you to have your notifications set to just some of the time rather than all the time. And I'm going to take my leave as I have a bunch of other projects in the works, like the sequel to this, the sequel to my Flash videos, a Sonic scaling video, which someone asked for quite a long time ago. I'm finally going to get around to reading the Archie comics, and a video on JoJo actually, which will feature Victory, who you guys have not seen in quite some time. So stay tuned, and keep GT strong. And since I'm in such a JoJo mood, I'll just say it again. Ciao!